Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're zeroing in on a massive piece of the NABIT accreditation scheme for environmental impact assessment consultants, and that is the Management Review Meeting, or MRM. Now, you might be thinking this is just another administrative box to check, right? Well, actually, scratch that. It's so much more. This meeting is literally the crucial engine driving your entire quality management system. Let me throw a highly practical question your way. Think about your day-to-day operations for a second. What happens to the quality of your AIA reports if your absolute top coordinator, your star expert, just suddenly leaves the organization tomorrow? Does the quality of your output totally plummet? If you're nodding yes right now, you're dealing with a pretty severe case of person-specific dependence. And honestly, that is one of the biggest vulnerabilities in our field. So this brings us to a massive shift required by NABIT's quality management system under Procedure B3. We absolutely have to move away from the vulnerability of relying on a few star individuals. Instead, our goal is to cross over to a highly resilient, system-oriented approach. We want a machine that guarantees uniform, high-quality deliverables regardless of exactly who happens to be sitting at the desk on any given day. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with that shift to systemic quality, break down the mandatory MRM agenda, see how we turn all this talk into concrete action, and finally, look at acing that naked assessment. All right, let's dive right into part one, the shift to systemic quality and how we move beyond just individual effort. Appendix B of the QMS scheme contains this absolute golden rule. It's all about inculcating a culture of saying what we do and doing what we say. It's about total organizational integrity. And the management review meeting, that is the primary, indispensable tool top management uses to ensure the organization is actually living up to that standard on a daily basis. The foundation of that integrity requires an established system that is heavily documented, audited, and fundamentally reviewed. Through the MRM, top management systematically reviews the organization's continued commitment to its quality policy and objectives. By analyzing real performance data and stakeholder feedback, it facilitates true continual improvement. Moving right along to Section 2, the mandatory MRM agenda and its 15 vital points. We all know corporate meetings can so easily become aimless talking shops, right? But this standardized MRM minutes format completely prevents that with a strict, concrete framework. So, the mandatory format specifies 15 distinct points that absolutely must be discussed, which we can group into a few buckets for comprehensive oversight. First up is audit and compliance. Top management has to review the current status of internal and external audits. And, crucially, they have to evaluate the status of corrective and preventative actions, or CAPA. This is where leadership takes a hard, honest look at system failures and ensures those nonconformances are actually getting fixed. Next is operational performance, because look, you can't just talk about quality, you've got to measure it. The MRM mandates a rigorous look at your actual output. This means reviewing departmental KPIs, tracking the physical progress of ongoing EIA projects, and critically evaluating the performance of your lab work and any outsourced jobs. Then we've got stakeholder feedback. And I'm not just talking about casually filing away a customer complaint. Organizations must systematically analyze minutes from public hearings and meticulously review observations made by regulatory bodies like the EAC and SEC. If regulators are pointing out flaws in your report quality, that feedback absolutely must be addressed at the very top. No excuses. Finally, we round out these agenda requirements with strategy and resources. Management has to step back and ask, do our employees and impaneled experts actually have the infrastructure, training, and motivation they need to succeed? Furthermore, the meeting must review the effectiveness of the previous quality improvement plan and the current implementation of QMS documentation. It's a total strategic health check. Okay, on to Section 3, turning all this talk into concrete action. This is where we see the MRM become a truly action-oriented forum. This meeting is specifically designed for strict, undeniable accountability. It is definitely not merely a reporting session. For every single one of those 15 agenda items discussed, the organization must document exactly what action is decided to resolve issues, who specifically holds the responsibility to execute it, and the precise time frame for its completion. Vague discussions simply have no place here. Think of it as a continuous improvement loop. Step 1, you analyze your data and regulatory feedback.
Step 2, you conduct a comprehensive MRM discussion. Step 3, you precisely document the actions and responsibilities. And Step 4, you implement and aggressively track those corrective and preventive actions. The MRM literally acts as the steering wheel, actively correcting the organization's course whenever it starts to drift.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 4, Acing the NABIT Assessment. Because at the end of the day, this is the ultimate litmus test. Maintaining proper MRM records is a mandatory compliance point verified during assessments. During your 18-month surveillance assessment, or SA, NABIT assessors explicitly verify your internal QMS audit reports and the minutes of your last MRM, just to ensure the system is functional. But for the 3-year reaccreditation, or RA cycle, they dig way deeper. They evaluate the ongoing implementation and long-term improvements you've made to your QMS directly through the MRM process over time. Now, I want to be crystal clear about this, as it is a stark reality of the accreditation scheme. Failure to conduct regular MRMs or failure to take actionable follow-up on the feedback received from regulatory bodies is viewed as a major systemic failure in your organization's commitment to quality. Ignoring the MRM process doesn't just result in a slap on the wrist or a minor observation. It can directly lead to the suspension or even cancellation of your entire NABIT accreditation. It's that serious. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Ask yourself right now, are you just holding meetings to check a mandatory administrative box, or are you actively driving continual improvement? I challenge you to transform the management review meeting from a dreaded administrative burden into your absolute engine of quality. Use it to build an organization that thrives on a resilient, system-oriented approach. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.